Hello and welcome to the Beyond the Hustle podcast. My name is Lydia and I'm a mindset and business coach for high-achieving entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I share insights into how you can create a life of freedom, happiness, and personal fulfillment while increasing financial success way beyond what you have achieved with hustle alone so far. Plus, every other week, I interview inspiring and out-of-the-box thinking entrepreneurs. Have fun and enjoy. Welcome to the first solo episode after the rebrand. I had this inspired impulse last year to rebrand the podcast after 124 episodes, and it got ready for this new year, for 2022. And I'm very excited. We already had the first interview with Michael, which was amazing. And today is the first solo episode ready for you. So the format of the podcast has changed a bit. That means I bring you a guest interview every other week now, and solo episodes in between. And I have already a lot of interesting guest experts lined up for you. They are either clients of mine, or clients of clients, or even whatever interesting people I meet when I'm traveling, when I'm on the road. And they all have either successfully built their businesses or are super successful in their investment game. So yeah, that means every second week, you get an interview. Very exciting. I heard from the people that they really like to get a glimpse into the world of other people's lives and how they have done it. So I thought I will bring you more of that. Yeah, and that means I really have people for you that I personally find very interesting and their opinions valuable and worthwhile. Okay, but now to today's topic. Today's topic is, does hustle build your business quicker? You have probably seen that I renamed the podcast. It's now the Beyond the Hustle podcast. And of course, the first solo episode I wanted to do is on that topic, on the question of hustle. Because that is the main premise of the hustle world, or even the whole business world out there. This idea, the more you hustle, the more you will get out. The more you put in, the more you get out. And what do they mean with the more you put in? Usually not what I mean about it. They usually mean hard work, long hours, definitely don't chill, don't relax, keep going, keep running after your goals, don't give yourself a break. Like, it's really this mentality of don't stop. Keep going, keep focusing on your goals, keep putting in more work, more hard hours, more go crazy. The stronger, the better. And you can already hear in my voice, it's like really this energy behind this grinding, like grind your teeth energy behind it. And relaxation is for losers only kind of mentality. So this is what we are speaking about. This is the hustle world, so to say. And of course, there are some people now that put in meditation is good and take a break and the 20-80 rule or 80-20 rule and set a timer, work 50 minutes, then take a 10-minute break. This is all nice, but it's still like the basis is still work hard and then take a little break in between so that you can keep working, that you can keep on working hard. And I want to really shift your perception of the bigger picture, so to say, today. Because is this really true? Is it actually true that the more you work, the harder you work, the more you get out? If you put in 10 hours a day of hard work, is this better than 6 hours? Are 6 hours better than 4 hours? Are 4 hours better than 2? Because that's it. It's the more you work, the harder you work, the better it is, so to say. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a world full of exhausted people running around. There are obviously more things that come together, not only hard work, but today I really want to focus on this hustling premise of, hustle will help you to get there. And even the people who help other people to build their business, like the first steps, they also say, when you build your business in the beginning, you have to put in the hours. And even there, you probably know what I'm going to talk about. Even there, I disagree. If you start from the beginning on with hustling and grinding and putting in 12 hours, 14 hours, you can't expect that to magically shift after a year or 2 years. There's always something else that needs to happen. It's not you work hard now and it will be easier later on. It's a fundamental habit you're building. And to change habits, that is difficult. So why not build a business from the beginning on based on the premise of not hustling is the way to go and rather working smart, for example? And I have 4 points I want to make today around this question of, does hustle build your business quicker? So before I answer the question, obviously, let me show you or point out the 4 points for you. The first one is, there are studies that show that efficiency declines after a certain amount of time of concentration of hard work. The human brain can't function and focus for such long times. Like, it does not work. I'm not going into the studies today. You can find all of them. It's a known thing nowadays. You need recuperation times. So this is the first point for you that shows that just working longer hours does not make sense because your brain is not built like that. It's not built for that. Not having a break, not taking your mind off things is not helping, and it's actually hurting your progress. It's the same with workouts, for example. The muscle growth happens after you've put in the work, basically in the leisure time and the time afterwards. And it's the same with everything else. Yes, you can have very focused and concentrated times, but then you need the slow time, you need the downtime, you need the recuperation times, you need the times where you can have intuitive glimpses and insights and new ideas. You need it. That's what the studies show. So the first thing is, it does not make sense to work 12 hours because the efficiency goes down. The work that you produce won't be the same, won't be as good as if you actually worked less. And then we can obviously discuss what the perfect hour is. But also this is different for every person, but definitely not 12 hours, definitely not 10 hours. I think after 4 to 6 hours, definitely whatever else you produce throughout the day is going to be less. The second point is, it's what you do and not how long you do it. Again, it's not about the amount of hours, because doing a wrong or unhelpful strategy or behavior doesn't make it better the longer or harder you try. So if you are doing something that is actually not super smart or super helpful, and you just think, I try harder, I do it for longer periods of time. For example, people who build a business and put a lot of energy and hard work into content, into writing. If you write crap copy, you can write as much as you want. It will keep being crap copy. And it does not make sense to do this for 10 hours versus 2 hours. You have to do something else. So again, it's not the hustling, the working hard, it's the smart solutions that bring growth. That's also, for example, the difference in the employment world. A manager who thinks strategically earns more money than the person who just does the task, so to say, without thinking. You can work as hard as you want, physical labor, for example. What will always be paid more is the person using the mind to change the modalities, to change the strategies, to work on the fundamental level and not on the putting out the work, so to say. Okay, what is the third point? The third point is a big one, and that's reflection mode, or that's reflection time for you now. What is the reason, the main driver for hustling? Because it's okay to hustle, it's okay to work hard. I have these days as well where I can work for 10 hours. I'm absolutely not against it. There is just this one important question. Do you work so hard and hustle because you're following your passion? Or do you work hard in order to avoid something? I have 3 examples for you for that. What do I mean with avoidance or with avoiding something? And you will know that directly. Like, are you working hard because you're so passionate about what you're building? Like, you want to bring this into the world and that's your purpose. Or is there a tiny bit, for example, of avoidance of yourself and your never-ending, mostly worrisome thoughts? For example, many people can't stand silence. They can't stand doing nothing. And why? Because they can't cope with their thoughts. So the working hard, the grinding is actually to be distracted from their own thoughts. They can't work with their thoughts. They haven't gained mental mastery, as I often say, or even emotional mastery. And that's their only coping mechanism, that they keep working hard, distracting themselves from their thoughts. And this is how they can keep going. And very often you find this in the burnout world. Like when you dig deeper, what has happened to that person? There were relationship issues they couldn't face. There were personal issues of purpose, of meaning. And the people couldn't just go there. No, they worked themselves into basically not being able to think about it or not having to think about it. Sometimes, like working hard is a symptom of something deeper. And actually working too hard, because I said working hard can and does have its place. So it could be this avoidance of yourself and your never-ending thoughts. And even questions about, oh my goodness, is this going to work? Or is my business going to break down? Do I make enough money? All of that, People think the solution is to work harder instead of addressing the thoughts. And then the next example, avoidance of not feeling good enough or not worthy enough. There is a proving energy behind the work then for these people. Because of the idea of if you don't work hard, you are nothing. Your self-worth is not tied to your existence, to you being a beautiful human being on this planet. No, it is tied to work. Usually kids that already grew up with being validated for their achievements versus for their being, who were shushed quiet, like they weren't allowed to express their emotions and all of that, or like had a proper validating moments when it comes to their emotions. These are the kind of people you find in the hustling world. They haven't experienced deep validation for their being. And it has then shifted into this proving energy of like, I have to keep doing, I have to show up, I have to show my worthiness, so to say, through the work I put out. And I see this very often. And you might not recognize this in the beginning. You actually have to go deeper to get a better understanding for that. And usually in the beginning, it's like, no, that's not me. But once we dig deeper, with most of the people, we find this in not always the big percentage. It can be a tiny bit, but very often you find proving energy in the people who work hard, who build a legacy based on crazy hustle and hard work. And the third example I wanted to give you is this avoidance of a boring life that you expect when you don't have to work hard anymore. So there is the question of purpose. What is the meaning of your life beyond the hard work? Do you have a purpose? What do you do when you have all the money and time freedom? Like, can you stand this idea? And many people can't because, again, they are not facing this deep-rooted fear of my life is going to be meaningless. My life is going to be boring if I don't have to work hard anymore. And people recreate the struggle. They recreate the hard work to not have to deal with these fundamental questions. So, 3 examples for avoidance, or what I mean with avoidance. And now, of course, if you love to work because you follow your passion, all good. But most people work hard because one of the previous 3 examples I gave you, either avoidance of yourself and your never-ending worrisome thoughts, or this avoidance of feeling good enough or not good enough and not worthy enough, or avoidance of the boring life you expect and when you don't have to work hard anymore. Yeah, so that means they work hard because of those avoidance reasons. It's a coping mechanism. And as long as these are not addressed, this mechanism or these thoughts or these coping mechanisms, so to say, as long as they are not addressed, you will not fulfill your full potential, nor will your business get to full potential, as its driving factor will always be avoidance. And I won't go too deep into that today, but just to really mention this, your business will carry this energy signature with it. So if you're a burned out coach or a burned out whatever person, like whatever you do, this will have implications on your clients, on your employees, on your customers, on your kids. you weave this pattern into your surroundings. You have to be aware of that. Do you want to weave a pattern of passion and purpose and meaning around you? Or do you want to weave a pattern of avoidance and all the things you're trying to suppress through this hard work coping mechanism? It's your choice, of course, but these are really important questions. And very often you don't see the impact directly. It will show up later on. Like we can go through all big companies out there and we can see how this behavior really impacts the people around. The fourth point is action is always the last step in the circle of creation. Thoughts inform emotions, inform actions, inform results. That means work on your beliefs and your underlying thought patterns and base your action on them. And most of the hustlers I have met don't do that. They actually think their actions create their outcomes, but they don't. It's always, always, always your beliefs, your thoughts, your mental image of the world that is the driving factor behind what you're able to create. If you want quantum leaps, you have to start there. You have to start with your mind, with your thought patterns, with your beliefs, and actually also how they are physically rooted and basically imprinted on your body. So we work on both, on your mind and on the cellular imprints. So this is where the real work lies. Yeah, let me summarize my 4 points for you, my 4 reasons why I am 100% sure that it doesn't. And that it makes so much more sense to really focus on your mind game, on your mental game, and base your actions on that instead of the other way around. The first one was that there are studies that show that efficiency declines. So it's not the more you work, the better. No, your work actually gets bad, gets worse the more you work, and you actually will make more mistakes. And then you know the circle I'm speaking about. The second point was it's what you do and not how long you do it. It's really the strategic thoughts. And again, your mental game behind what you're doing and not the pure labor, so to say. Also in your own business. Working on your business is so much more important than working in your business. And there are many different applications that show the same. For example, the employment world, or also when you're doing workouts, it's always what you do and not how long you do it. And then the third point was, what is the reason, the main driver for hustling? So when we go deeper, when we don't just think about the logistics, like, you work this amount of hours and what is the input, what's the output, so to say. No, when you go deeper, like why is a person even hustling and grinding? What is the reason behind that? Then we take it to a whole different level because very often, 99% of the times, we will figure out people are not following their deep passion. They're actually doing the avoidance game. Once you start working on these different ways of avoiding things in your life, you will free up so much more energy because this is all suppressed energy. And once you free this up, you actually can boost your business so much more than when you keep this energy suppressed, so to say. Fourth point was action is always the last step in the circle of creation. So actually, the most impact you will have on your business growth is not on the action side, it's on the mental game, on the mental game side, on the mind game. There you make the big changes in your life as well as your business. Did you like this podcast episode? Then please share it with people who you know could benefit from it. Also, I would be super grateful if you could leave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It would mean such a lot to me. If you want to stay connected with me, please join my Telegram channel for daily mini reminders around mindset, business growth, investing, and living life to the fullest. Or message me directly on Instagram or LinkedIn. You will find all the links in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode. Much love, Lydia.